Where do the trans women go to the bathroom?
In the women's bathroom because they were trans
So,
women.
but you just said that it's not
That's the thing I'm saying.
women who go
I'm
to the
saying
bathroom.
the trans women who are actual trans women who are...
There's no such thing as an actual trans woman.
Okay, the point I'm trying to say is there's weirdos who are going to abuse the power, who would have abused the power without those laws in place anyways. Those
No,
weirdos
but they would be kicked out, is the difference.
They are still going to be kicked out. A man...
No, now there's a civil right, according to the Bostock decision
you think so?
in
If you
2020,
think you
that
walked
allows
into...
men to
If
go
you
to
think
the
if you
women's
walked into the women's bathroom in that state right now and you just said, oh, I go by she, hers, they're going to let you stay in there? Be fucking for real.
He was being a dick there by saying, there's no actual trans women. He knew what she was trying to say. He was just being a dick. And sorry if my voice is a little off. I'm actually recovering from sickness, still a little sick, still coughing a little bit, and, my nose is still a little stuffy. So what Kiko said here is absolutely true. Like, if he just came into the women's restroom looking the way that he did and just claimed that, oh, I'm a trans woman, nobody would fucking believe that, obviously, right? I think there should be a minimum requirement to claim the title of trans woman. Because right now, there just doesn't seem to be any kind of barriers to entry. You can just pretty much say, I'm a trans woman, and poof, there you are. There's no verification or anything. I think there should be, so that we can, put a stop to these male predators posing as trans women and invading women's spaces and, making the women feel unsafe and comfortable. And, I think the minimum should be at least 2 years of hormones before you can qualify into, being called or considered a trans woman. I think other than that, I don't think you should be. Until you have proven to people that you're actually serious about this and, this isn't just some trend or you being a fake, I think you shouldn't be allowed in the women's restroom. I think you should earn that. You should definitely, prove yourself to the world that, you are indeed an actual or legitimate trans woman. I think that would solve a lot of the problems. But I guess the next issue would be how. How do we determine that, right? How do we confirm that, that this person has actually gone through, hormone therapy for a couple of years. And, that can be, I think that can be treated the same way as having a vax card, right? You just can present some kind of document or ID certifying that you are, have been taking the hormones for a couple of years. I mean, I'm just kind of thinking of, some possible solutions to, to this problem. So I don't have all the details, but I think, something along those lines would definitely help.
I am comfortable sharing bathrooms with the other side.
Yes, I feel comfortable. Safe? That might be a different question, but comfortable? Yes, I feel comfortable.
What I think the bathroom issue opens up is an issue of predatory men taking advantage of the opening. That now they could walk into a women's bathroom or a women's locker room, as we've seen happen in instances like here in Los Angeles at We Spa. And they go into a women's space, they expose themselves to the women, and then they say, well, I'm a trans woman and you've opened up this space for me. I want to ask you, is your comfort as far as going to the bathroom more important than the female women that will be victimized by this?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think people understand that trans women, like real trans women, aren't really the issue here. The women are afraid of predatory men who will take advantage of this opening and use it to harm women. And she's exactly correct. Like what I was saying earlier. If we don't have such, rules or requirements, then yeah, pretty much any guy can just put on a wig, a little bit of makeup, put on a dress, and then nobody gets to question them. And I think that's wrong. I think they should be questioned, and there should be some form of identification that they need to present to protect women's safety. A few years back, there was a huge uproar here in the Philippines when a trans woman, her name is Gretchen Diaz, she she wasn't even able to enter the women's restroom, and she got arrested. It was insane. She was in handcuffs and everything. She was an actual trans woman, right, with surgeries and everything. But I think one of the female genders just didn't feel like she should be using the women's restroom because maybe with the way she looked. Obviously, she was clocked. She was identified as, an actual trans woman instead of like being seen as a woman. So this is why, being passable for us is so, 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 so crucial. And I'm not just saying just for the sake of entering the women's restroom. It's just with everything, we don't want to be clocked by anyone. That's the ultimate goal. It's just for people to see us as women, and we can just carry on with our lives without any kind of issues. So that kind of sparked the debate and a conversation about having the SOGI bill or rights in our country. Unfortunately, I don't think it passed. Maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I know, it didn't. Countries should enforce a rule about becoming a trans woman. There should be a bare minimum to be able to claim to call yourself a trans woman. Otherwise, we're just opening the doors to, predators.
In terms of like wanting to blend, I understand that on your side, but women fought very hard to have women's rights and women's safe places. And I don't think someone's wanting to blend supersedes my wanting to be away from a man in the restroom, because in my eyes, I can respect you. I can tell you my favorite makeup products. I can show you my favorite places to shop. But at the end of the day, I don't want someone who was ever a man using the space that I feel unsafe in the same way that I would not feel comfortable getting undressed around a lesbian, in the same way that a trans man, in that sense. So women's spaces should be protected at large. And I think, I just don't think.
So you want her to use the men's restroom?
I think there should be a third restroom.
But until that happens, you think right now she should use the men's restroom?
Yeah. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
So, but
one of the problems.
But no, let me ask something before you answer that question. Wouldn't you think that it would jeopardize my safety though, walking into?
But wouldn't
restroom?
it jeopardize my safety if men identifying as women come into the bathroom and rape women under the guise of transgender?
But
people
Bingo,
who are not
exactly.
transgenders. There's
Exactly.
people who manipulate and they take what you've gone through and struggled through your life, and they take that to their
See, that's not a
advantage.
closing
And they say,
statement, 'cause we're
"Oh, I'm
having
going to put a dress on
conversation."
and go in the bathroom and pretend
Thank
I'm
you.
trans." And they haven't actually struggled with gender dysphoria and gone through the problems, and they're taking advantage of the situation. And that's the women that I'm trying to protect.
So it all comes down to women's safety and also our safety, right? Like what she said. If I went to the male's restroom, I mean, I don't really go out a lot, so I don't really have this issue, to be honest. But when I do go out, I do use the women's restroom. Fortunately for me, I am quite passable, so nobody really makes a scene or anything when I go to the women's restroom. Nobody notices, nobody clocks me, so I am very fortunate in that way. But I do make sure that when I do enter the women's restroom that, I do not talk, because I do get clocked from my voice. People can tell from my voice that, I am trans. So I really make sure that I actually don't say anything. I don't say a word when I'm in the women's restroom. So even when I am going in there with my girlfriends, like I try to not make any conversations with them, because I don't want to make a scene. I just want to fucking use the restroom and get the hell out of there. Like I don't, I don't need all of that, really. Like, give me a few minutes, I'm done. But I do understand where the women are coming from. Their safety is being jeopardized. And I do understand the question of, like, is your comfort more important than women's safety? Well, actually, it's not just comfort for us, it's also our safety. Because, like, if we went into the men's restroom, men can tend to be a little more physical, a little more aggressive, a little more volatile, right? Compared to women. With the guys, like if I went to the men's restroom, I don't know when was the last time I went to the men's restroom. It must have been when I was still a teenager. I haven't been to the men's restroom, so, but I think if I did, I would definitely get a lot of looks. They would laugh at me for sure. They would make jokes. I'm not sure if they would physically harm me, and I don't want to find out. So it comes down to women's safety and our safety, right? And I know a lot of heterosexual people will just say, like, well, you chose that life, you brought that upon yourself. Why do I have to pay for that? You know, why does my safety have to be jeopardized by your life decisions? And I totally understand where they're coming from, right? I completely get their angle. Um, I mean, I can argue that this isn't my choice, but you know, nobody would believe me. So for me, the way things are right now, there is no third bathroom for transgender people. And I would absolutely want nothing more than to have a third, transgender bathroom specifically for us to kind of end all of this issue, right? That would just solve everything. But with the way things are now, there is no third bathroom. So we just have to live with what we have. People are going to look out for themselves, right? Women are going to look out for women for themselves, and I will do the same. Nobody's going to look out for me, right? I have to look out for me. I have to look out for my safety. So I'm sorry, women, but I am going to continue using the women's restroom, period. While I understand your concern about your safety, I also have to take care of myself, and be concerned for my safety. Do you know what I'm saying? I know that I'm not a danger if I go to the women's restroom, right? Me personally, if I go to the women's restroom, I'm not going to be a danger. And I think women know that, right? If they see me, they probably wouldn't even know I'm trans. And for some women that would be able to tell, I don't think they would feel unsafe or uncomfortable, maybe uncomfortable, because I've had experienced this a couple of times at work where people actually know me, so they knew I was trans and they just didn't want to share. There's going to be some people like that. So yeah, I am going to continue using the women's restroom, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry if you feel that way, but I have to look out for me, sis. Sorry. For all of the other trans women out there who, want to use the women's restroom just like I do, just keep your head down. Keep your head down. Just try to act the most ladylike as you can. Maybe enter the women's restroom when there's not a lot of people, but that's almost impossible, right? If there is a third bathroom, like a disabled person's bathroom, then use that, just to kind of avoid any kind of issue. Yeah, right now, this is the world we live in right now. Women don't want to share because they fear for their safety. And that just kind of leaves us, kind of on our own. Like, we have to look out for ourselves and take care of ourselves as well. So, if you can hold it, which sucks, nobody should be able to hold it. Everyone should be able to go to the restroom when they need to. Yeah, I wouldn't actually recommend holding it. That would actually be unhealthy. No shade, okay? No shade. But like if you are not passable, it's a risk. It is a risk, especially in my country where, it has been a friggin' huge issue. So it's a risk. Pee at your own risk. It sucks. I wish the world wasn't like this, but it is. And, we just have to make do. Thank you guys for. Oh, God. I'm so snotty. Thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.